Huh. Hmm. True Buds, we're going to answer some of those common infusion questions that I've been asked a fair amount on this channel. So, number one, let's just take it from the rip with decarboxylation. Actually, even before that, what can you use to infuse? You can use flower, CBD flower, you can use concentrates. There's so many concentrates, as I'm sure you're aware. You can use already vaped weed, you can use rosin pucks, you can use, I'm trying to think of anything else that I'm forgetting. There's probably a couple others I just forgot, but basically anything that's cannabis you can use to infuse for the most part. You could even open old carts and infuse with those. Don't necessarily recommend that, but you can. So the next step is decarboxylation. The vast majority of products you're going to need to decarb apart from things like distillate. So decarboxylation, as you've probably heard me talk about, if it's not your first time tuning in, and if it's your first time, please hit that button. A decarboxylation is a process of activating your cannabis. So you're turning the THCA into THC. So you need to add that heat to it. The most common way is just to put it in the oven. If you're using the mason pot, just put your flour or concentrate in the mason pot jar. We have a thermometer on there too. Put it in the oven, 240 degrees for 40 minutes. You now have an activated product. So what next? Now you just simply add your butter of choice, your oil of choice. My go-to lately is MCT oil, coconut oil, olive oil, and of course I love the butter if I'm cooking up some tasty baked goods or savory treats. You put that in the jar with the decarbed bud and you infuse it for 2 to 4 hours at about 190 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. That is going to leave you with your finished product almost, because you still need to do the last part. You have to strain it out. In the past, when I was infusing, I used cheesecloth, these other sort of strainers, coffee filters, and that's part of the reason that the Mason Pot press and puck was invented. And if you haven't checked out Mason Pot, I'll link that below. But simply drop the puck in, press it out, pour it through the fine strainer, then you have your finished product. I usually recommend storing it in the refrigerator to, keep that shelf life longer for you. And you can use it in whatever you want. And then if you have the trifecta, your infused olive oil, coconut oil, and butter, that will last you a long time. But for me lately, is you might know, I love the MCT oil tincture. Really easy. Just take it right out of the jar, drop it in. And I said common infusion questions, and I kind of answered them with some answers here. But I'm trying to think of anything else that people say. Yeah, how long to infuse is a common one. 2 to 4 hours is what I recommend. There's a point of diminishing return, in my opinion, above that, and you can start to get burnt, charred taste and cannabinoid burn off as well there. Decarboxylation. Oh, this is a good one. Do you need to decarb? You do not necessarily need to decarb, but that's how you're going to get the most potent product possible. Now you might be saying, why wouldn't I want to decarb? You might want to decarb to have more of those terpenes in there, more cannabinoids, because things burn off at different temperatures. So even if you took your straight raw flour, and I've done this before several times, even if you take your straight raw flour, put it in a jar and add coconut oil to it and infuse it, it's still going to work, and it's going to have most likely a higher terpene percentage in there, but it's just not going to hit as hard on the THC side. So if you're somebody that's really, not necessarily even low dose, you can try it out yourself. That's called a passive infusion, when you don't activate your cannabis, and an active infusion is when you do decarboxylate. So it's not necessary, although I do it probably 90% of the time. Some chefs don't like to for the flavor as well. Again, play with it, do you. There's also a little hack I like to do, not necessarily a hack, but just a little thing. Say you're using a 1/4 ounce, decarb half or 2/3 of it, let's just say an eighth. So you decarb an eighth, then you add the other fresh eighth in, so you're getting a nice potent activated, and then you're getting the fresh terps for an active passive combo. What else, guys? Can you use this in edibles? Yeah, you can make your own gummies, chocolates, smoothies, anything, dude. The world is really your oyster here when it comes to infusions and the DIY. I'm just trying to think off the rip any other random questions I would get. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll definitely address them on the next video. Thank you for chilling, True Buds. Love you guys.